Welcome back, everybody, to another Wildlife Reacts. On this one, we wanted to do some apples and bananas. We decided to go with some green Granny Smith apples and some red apples. And you can see my hands are a little dirty there. That's because this is actually take two. Take one didn't go so well with the video there. Decided to take the little sticker off. Didn't want the creatures eating that. And so we wanted to find out, was there going to be a difference between the type of apple that the wildlife would go after, and would they prefer the apples or the bananas? And so that's why we did this one. The little sticker did fall down with the bananas there. I didn't realize as I was doing it, but they didn't eat it. Later on, I was able to pick that piece up. And you can see here later on that night, we did get our very first visitor coming on by. This is an opossum. A lot of people refer to them as possums, but possums are different little creatures. They're a little smaller. They're kind of like a cross between a squirrel and a chinchilla almost. Opossums are a little bigger. They kind of got that long, pointy, naked looking tail. Now he's just loving these bananas here. We had to speed it up because he just sat there for such a long time eating those bananas. I think he was looking for something a little sweeter. And right now, I think he's looking for more bananas. He's probably thinking if they were right there in the middle, maybe they're somewhere else. This unusual find that I haven't seen in a while. But of course, there's no other bananas around, so he's not going to find any more. And then he leaves us for the night. And he's good. I think his belly is filled, and he didn't have any apples that night. But later the next day, we had a little gray squirrel come by, and I was wondering if the gray squirrel would sniff or smell the apples, but they don't generally eat apples. They usually like the nuts and seeds. They'll go after your bird feeder if you have one of those out in the yard. And so you can see this little guy's looking for some acorns or some nuts. They're pretty light creatures, about a half a pound to 3/4 of a pound in weight. And he came by a few times, but on none of our videos did he ever go near the apples. And you can see here, he's just going to head off. Now we had the trail cam going for 2 days on this one. And so later the next night, our same opossum showed up. My family wants to give this opossum the name Gus Gus, so I'll call him Gus Gus. So you can see here Gus Gus comes back, and there's no bananas left, but of course there's apples, and he goes right for, and I'm saying he, I don't even know if Gus Gus is a he, but he goes for the red apples. I'm thinking he wanted the red apples because they're a little sweeter than the green apples. Now, opossums are interesting creatures. They do have that reflex where they seize up and they flop to the ground and play dead if a predator comes by. And they could stay in that state for a couple of hours sometimes. And they can't control it. It just happens automatically. And when they do this, they will emit sort of a nasty little smell. And a lot of times foxes or bobcats will leave them alone because they want nothing to do with a foul, dead-looking creature with its tongue waggling out of its mouth. I just love the way he holds that with his hands there, his little claws holding the apple, and just having a great old time, just chewing away, eating it up. Now, if you have opossums near you, these are great little creatures to have on your or around your property. They will get rid of a lot of the ticks in the area. Matter of fact, they eat about 90% of the ticks that end up on their own body. They'll just chew them right off and eat them up. And also in a season, it's estimated that they consume about 5,000 ticks. So if you have a few opossums in your your property or on your property, definitely keep them around. I love this up close shot. It comes right over to the camera. After smelling the green apples, he decides to go back to the red apples, which I think confirms that he's finding them a little bit more sweeter than the green apples, and that became his choice. Another cool thing about opossums is they don't normally get rabies. A lot of times people are afraid of opossums because they think they could have rabies, but they don't usually get them. They're almost immune to it, and so that's another good thing that you don't have to worry about. Now, after he consumes all of the red apples, and all the red apples are gone at this point, he does decide, I'm going to go have some green apples, and he sits there for a while and eats them. I think he's looking for more bananas. And that was it for Gus Gus on this night. Now, we didn't have any other creatures joining us for this challenge, just Gus Gus. And this here, you can see I took my phone, and that's how much of the green apple was left. None of the bananas and none of the red apples left over. And so there we go. Green apples, red apples, and bananas in the woods for the wildlife.